Welcome back to the Connection Program. This is Lesson 12, Endless Storytelling. Jump-off points. We've been doing a number of improvisation exercises based on feeding you a random word, like garbage, garage, bird, tail, whatever. When someone is talking to you, they're constantly giving you words you can improvise stories and conversations off of. For example, when I was in school, I always was the nerdy kid who studied too much. My roommates would go out and party, but I would stay in doing my biochemistry homework or something lame like that. In this short two-sentence story, we have 8 or 9 different jump-off points. You could tell a story about when you were in school. You could tell a story about being a nerdy kid or a nerdy kid that you knew who studied too much. You could talk about your roommates when you were in school. You could talk about going out and partying. You could talk about staying in and doing your homework instead of partying. You could talk about biochemistry, and you could talk about anything lame. All of these things, all of these subjects, anything you could improvise off of one of these subjects would relate to what this person is telling you. And it would push the conversation forward, and it would create a new and dynamic topic to talk about. So, for example, the jump-off points. When I was in school, I wasn't nerdy, but I had a creepy roommate, blah blah blah. When I partied, I had the opposite problem, staying in. I dated a girl who took biochem, or something lame. That's not lame. I used to do this. These are all jump-off points. These are all natural processes to continue the conversation. So the point is to take these improvisation exercises and then actually apply them to the normal conversations and stories that people are telling you. So how do we practice jump-off points? I want to take a random word, tell a story to it, and then based on that story, tell another story. And then based on that story, tell another. So if you start with one word, you tell a brief story about that word, and then you take another word that you used in that story, and then you start another story. And you try to get this to be fluid and smooth and automatic. For example, cricket. I had a really good friend who was Indian, and he was always talking about cricket teams, and he was really excited about it, and he would go on and on about his favorite cricket players and all these big matches and stuff like that. And so when I visited Australia, I was very excited to be able to finally see a cricket match. And I had no idea that cricket matches last for 4 days. Absolutely nothing happens during them. It's just the same thing over and over. And it was one of the most boring and miserable experiences of my life. Also, when I was in Australia, when I was in Sydney, I was very surprised at how European and modern everything was. And then I would continue a story from there. So you get the idea. And from there, I could even do another story about European cities or whatever. The point is you take one topic in your first story, tell another story, take a topic from that story, tell another story, and you just keep going as long as it's comfortable. So the exercise is to practice your jump-off points until you can do 5 stories in a row comfortably based off one word in each story. Improvise 3 stories and conversations with people based on something they just said, and then write about the experience below.